Hello, everybody. This is Joseph Pasek, and welcome to the FiredUp Network. Welcome to a special edition, a Good Friday edition of Beyond the Score here on the Fired Up Network. We got some good segments planned for you guys tonight. First of all, to our Jewish friends and fans out there, Chag Sameach, Happy Passover. For Christian fans out there, great Friday, Good Friday, and have a happy Easter weekend. Hopefully, the weather looks like next week it's going to turn here in Toronto. But right now, I present the Renaissance Mama, part of female empowerment movement. Courtney Riddell of the Renaissance Mama here. You could see her and every week on the Fired Up Network. Here we go with Courtney.
Hi, friends. I'm Courtney. I'm a performer, speaker, and a writer. I'm a mama to three crazy boys and a super sweet dog. I decided 12 years ago that I needed to create a business that worked for me instead of me working for it. I'm a multi-passionate entrepreneur who maybe can say serial entrepreneur by some. But then I realized that all of my businesses focused on connection, community, and creating an incredible experience. I cannot wait to share with you how to make small but mighty changes in your life to affect your well-being and create a life and business you want to get up in the morning for. That's right, my friends. I am the Renaissance Mama.
Hi guys, it's me, Courtney, the Renaissance Mama, and I am so excited today. I have a very special guest. I have my dear friend Carly, who's a very busy mama. She's an entrepreneur, and what I love most about Carly is not afraid to create a path for herself. She doesn't really go by some of the rules sometimes. She is willing to think out of the box and do what she wants with her life. So I love it so much. So Carly Moore, thank you so much for coming to the show. Say hello to my amazing audience.
Hello, everybody. Thank you for having me, Courtney. I'm really looking forward to being here. And that was like a beautiful intro. That touched my heart. I love it.
I was thinking about you this morning, and that's what I was like, it came to mind. I'm like, oh yeah, Carly's just not afraid to do what she wants to do. You find something you good at, that you like to do, and you're like, see a path that lines up. So I'm going to create my own. So that's why I thought you are the perfect guest to come on here today to chat with my audience all about that.
Well, thank you for having me. I feel like that's probably why we connect so well too, right? Because you're always like, I want to do this. Let's create it.
I think so too. I feel like you and I eventually are going to really line up and create some magic together.
Let's do it.
So in case my audience doesn't know, can you share a little bit kind of what you're known for?
Yeah, I'm hair. I'm gonna say that. I was thinking about this. I'm like, one word, hair. Yeah, I've been a hairstylist for over 20 years, and I think if anybody heard my name and knows of me, that's probably why. Yeah.
Awesome. And then you've decided pretty early on. I mean, I feel like as a hairstylist, you kind of sort of start as your own boss in some capacity, right? Sort of the traditional way of being a hairstylist. You sometimes rent a chair. I don't even know else, but you then really decided, wait a minute, I want to become my own boss. This is not really working for me. I want to make it work for me. So share with my audience a little bit about that.
For sure. Yeah. Usually when you come out of school, you're in a commission salon, or they pay you hourly, and you build up your clientele, and then you work for somebody and you make, I don't know, 50%, 40% commission, and you come in the hours they want you to come in, and you work evenings and weekends and do all of the things that you're supposed to do. So I was stuck in that box of this is what I was supposed to do for quite a long time. And then I had children and was like, oh wow, this doesn't work for me anymore. And there's more to life than being here all the time in this salon.
Right.
So I did a sweet rental then. I rented an area in a friend's salon, and then worked around my children and my family and all the things. And then I was like, no, I need even more control. So I opened a salon in my home, just in a room in my basement. I have, oh my goodness, then our house flooded. So then I didn't have this.
No.
That was why. So then I did like a traveling salon. Yeah. Just like, I don't know, you just do the things to make it work, right? But it's funny because it doesn't matter which way you do it, you're still doing the same thing. It's just like, how much control and freedom do you want over the thing that you do?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you have a new, pretty big, exciting project right now as well. So can you share a little bit about that?
For sure. So I'm teaching people how to do what I did. um, yeah. So I help either people hopping right out of hair school or who've been working, say, hourly or commissioned in a salon for somebody else, just step outside of that employee mindset and become this entrepreneur who owns their own hair business. And you know, I think more than many people, so much of it is in the mindset.
Oh, 100%.
Right? It's wild. So, who was it? Henry Ford who said, whether you believe that you can or you believe that you can't, you're right. So, a ton of it's online courses with the like physical steps to do to open your own place. But then we have live coaching twice a week. That is just like the mindset and kind of like mindset around the business stuff as well. So, it's super fun. It's brought so much freedom into my life that like I'm watching these stylists struggle and I'm like, no, there's another way. They just
Right?
haven't told you. Yeah.
I want to go back because I think it's so incredible. Like you said, is like you have this path in your head and you're like, okay, I really want to be a hairstylist. I go to school, I do these things. And then, yeah, you have kids and you're like, oh my gosh, I love this life too. And now all of a sudden the two don't match up. And I feel for me, like recently that really hit home because I'm like, I obviously always wanted to be a performer. And I was like, okay. And then I had my kids and I'm like, all right, well, eventually, like, you know, when they get old enough. And then I'm like, well, no, because I'm never going to want to like not see them for 7 days a week. Like if I'm doing shows every single night, like that's never going to line up. So what are my favorite aspects about performing and taking those pieces of it and then really kind of creating what's next for me? Because like you said, like it didn't exist. It doesn't exist, everybody's path. So I was like, all right, I want to really create it. And I personally love digital courses. So I love that you kind of discovered that as well. So how did you like, I guess in your head, like, was it just you wanted to scale or how did like the idea of just creating the digital course, where did that come from?
Oh, there's like a list of things that I want to say in my head right now. I will answer that question, but I have to go back to I think a lot of people think it's all or nothing. So it's either all or nothing with their family and their kids or all or nothing with their business, and you can't have both. And
Mm-hmm.
you're right, when you have to think outside that box and you have to think a different way. And yeah, maybe let go of some of the pieces of of both. Like
Yeah.
there's a lot of things in my home that I'm supposed to do, but I don't do. Because
Yeah,
I'm like, I don't know. I don't have time for that if I want to do all the things.
I agree.
So yeah, figuring what like you really, really love about it, because that's the piece too that's going to keep you motivated and be stronger than your excuses, and then just figuring out a way to do that
Yeah.
alongside doing the mom in, right?
Yeah. And I think, like I said, it doesn't have to look like the picture that you thought it was going to look like. And even for myself, like I love teaching, but I never wanted to be like in front of a classroom from, you know, I knew that wasn't my jam, but I'm like, oh, wait a second. I can, you know, teach my musical theater. I can teach and do it in a different way because that's like, I love it and it feels comfortable. It feels good, but it doesn't really like, I'm not that teacher box. Like for sure, I knew from a very young age. And it was funny because my mom was a teacher and hated it. And I would come in and, oh, she hated it. I don't even know why. I think like you said, she just kind of like got out of school and was like, oh, I'll become a teacher. I have summers off. Like, I don't know. So I would help her. My mom would be like, you're really good at this. Like, maybe you should look into this. I'm like, no, thank you. Like, and it was just like not even an option because I was like, I don't see that vision of me. I don't see myself doing the day-to-day same thing. Like
Yeah,
that's
like that
not me.
structure,
Yeah.
right? No, you're
Yeah.
like a free soul.
Yes. Very much so. A free busy bird just flying all over going
Totally,
nuts,
that's
like
right.
just craziness.
Oh my goodness.
So
The digital courses,
yes,
because you love digital courses as well.
I love them. And I really hope that people taking advantage of them. Like, I think once you take a course and you realize, wait a second, this is awesome. This is bringing me an opportunity I normally wouldn't have. I probably can't afford. I don't want to, take a plane to go to a special conference, but like, wait a second, if my mentor is right in front of me and giving me all the tools, and then I go ahead and do the work, like digital courses are so incredible. So I am a huge fan.
Yep, same. And they're brilliant. I think they're brilliant to take, and because they're so convenient.
Yes.
And they're brilliant to create, because we all know something that I always assume that people know some of the things that I know. And then I'm like, wait, hold on. I'm constantly getting asked questions about this.
Yes.
I guess people don't know this stuff. And then you create it, and then it's just there.
I know.
Like, it's such a brilliant business aspect, like in that way too, right? Because it's that passive income of people coming again and again.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think digital courses, I have 1,000 million ideas for them, but I feel like you're the same, where I'm like, okay, no, I need to focus on this one.
Yes.
And not all these other things. But so yeah, I don't know. I created a digital course. The first one was all about building a loyal client base. And just, you know what, actually, Nikki Bowman and I created, I know she wants me to say hi to you. She's like, tell Courtney to say hi.
Always love Nikki. She was my first guest. She was my first guest ever. Yeah.
I love her. So her and I created, and we never fully made it a course to sell, but we created a course on building relationships with people in network marketing, because that's how we know each other.
Yes.
Through our bond. And then I was like, this is brilliant. All of these skills of building trust and relationships and educating people and just like all of the things are so valuable in any sort of customer service,
anything
industry.
Yeah.
And that's the sustainability. Like, if we're talking about hairstyling, either you have loyal clients who are pre-booking with you, referring their friends, they're coming all the time, they're paying you your worth, it takes all the stress out, or you're like, holy crap, I have nobody in my books, no butts in my chair, and I can't pay my bills, and that is stressful. And then you can't create from that stressful, worried, lack place, right? You're never getting anything great. So that was my first one, just like a little mini one. And then I dove into the I need to show people how to work for themselves and have that freedom. So then I started doing that too. But I don't know how long yours took you to create. I think there was a huge 9-month chunk. I just kind of dabbled in it and then was scared.
Yeah.
And was like, oh God, I don't know. And then you doubt yourself.
I similar to you, actually started with a mini one first that I thought I'd put together really quickly. And I did, and I had it out there. And then it was funny because I realized that wasn't the course I really wanted to love and share. Like, I was like, oh my God, this is ridiculous. And same thing, you think, okay, I put it together. That's the hard part, but it still takes time to share and educate and put yourself out there and put it out there. And then I was just not loving it. And I realized this is not even the audience I want to work with. So it was just this big aha moment. And I was saying, and I heard you recently joined the fourth floor with me. So welcome to the fourth floor.
Thank you.
But I was talking about in a recent episode, some of the things that I had learned. And I think in past years, normally I would have continued to stick it out and push it through because I've already created it. But this year I was like, no, this is not what I wanted to do. I was afraid to do what I wanted to do. I was nervous, and same thing. I was super stuck for the longest time. I couldn't figure out how to do it. And then finally I worked through that and I started creating it. But I agree. What happened with me is my course then just got bigger and bigger, this little idea. And I had all my sticky notes and I had my plan. But once I started putting it together, I was like, wow, this is a pretty
intense
big thing. And then I don't know about you, but the hardest thing I find right now is educating people on what a digital rather than a virtual class, especially when we are offering the bonus virtual, that's my biggest hiccup right now, especially because my course is teaching kids musical theater, right? And really affecting kids who may not have the ability to do it in front of a big crowd yet, whether they're anxious, whether they have exceptionalities, whether they can't afford it. I really want to hit those kids and those families give them the opportunity because I've seen what happens when kids do musical theater. Like it's magic. But my biggest hiccup right now is trying to like explain to people like, no, it's not virtual class. We're not hopping on Zoom. That is not what this is. But
I will not be spending every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday evening with you.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And they just,
you hop on the class and press play. Yeah.
they don't get it. And I'm like, once you get it, you will love it. And once you realize, like, I realized for me, like, yes, I am very much an extrovert, but there's things that I like doing better by myself privately. So learning is one of them. So digital courses are great for me because I can do them at my own pace. I can like do this. I can write my notes. I can do all those things. Whereas like, I don't know if I would have taken as much of it if I was in a big classroom. I think there'd be too much going on. I wouldn't be able to like focus on it. Whereas like, wow. So yeah, I think more people need to find digital courses and love them and realize what they are.
I'm with you 100%. And I think it is something that's super taking off. So like if anybody here is listening and you have thought about creating a digital course, now is the time to do
Yeah.
it. Like just
I agree.
I don't know what platform you use. I used Teachable, and they actually had an entire course, a free course inside Teachable that taught you how to build a course. So every single manual step, like you can find courses on how to build courses. Like,
I know.
Mind blowing.
I did a few different ones. And actually right now I ended up bringing most of it back just to my website. So it was almost my own stuff, just so then it's easier to go to different platforms and share it on different platforms. But there are so many resources out there. And exactly what you said, like they make it so easy for you. It's drop and drag and share your expertise. And exactly what you said is that like those things that come super easy to you and you assume come super easy to everybody, they do not, right? Whether but they don't it's so funny. Like I just always assume, and I'm like, oh, why didn't you think about this that way? People are like, how my brain works. I'm like, oh, okay, right. Like it's just a different, but I love digital courses. And I agree. More people should use them and check them out and find them. And
right? I'm with you 100%. Did you know that it was, goodness, 9 years ago, 8 or 9 years ago, that my oldest son was in one of your theater classes, and he was like 3, and he was little, so scared to do anything. I don't know if you remember this, and I had to do all the things with him.
All the things with him. Yeah, I totally remember that. And that's what this course is. Like a part of it is that I suggest the performer does it with their adult, because that's it. Now, not only are they learning, but you've like added this fun experience with your kid that like, when do you ever get to do, right? Like it is. And so I'm just hoping I get it out to the right people. I totally remember, all your boys were so super cute, but definitely it's such an amazing thing for kids to do.
And being able to do it at home. So for a kid like Coop, who was really anxious and nervous, all the other people, he would have like thrived at home doing that.
Yeah. Right. And like special attention with mommy doing it with you and learning back and forth and playing and doing the games. And it was funny because even when I filmed it, I needed kids to be in it. And my guys are like a little bit old, and Parker is, and he's the youngest. So I was like, okay, it still fits your age group. And he wasn't that keen on it. And then my middle one was like, well, can I be in it? Like he wanted to be in it. And even the older one was like, so what are you doing now? Like they all were like, what's happening, mom? Like I want to help out too. So it was just so sweet. And even the games, like I was playing with them and they were loving it. And it was just so much fun creating. But definitely got bigger than I thought it was going to be. Like I thought it was going to be like, I'll just like, put it together. And then because I care about it though, right? Because we care. So we want to make it amazing.
I find that a hard part is being like, okay, where do I have too much in here? Because you just want to give all of it. And then I always forget that can be really overwhelming for people if they're just beginning.
Yeah.
So I have to like, even sometimes, so digging so deep. So I have a coach, and it's like very much, I hired him for business, but it's 90% mindset and like super deep digging mindset stuff. And then I'll share the stuff with my kids, or like I'll speak some of the things. And then all of a sudden I'm like, oh wait, maybe this is way over your head. But then things like this happen. So sorry, I'm going very off track here, but I have a cool story.
I like it.
Perfect. So talking about like mindset and how it's so important whether you're growing a business, you have that fear or doubt of creating an online course, like whatever it may be, right? So I share all these things with my kids. And one of my sons had anxiety, like really bad after COVID. He stopped going to friends' houses. He stopped having sleepovers. Even like I used to drop him off at the hockey arena. He'd go in, I'd pick him up after, right? Like I'd meet him in the
Yeah.
parking lot after. I had to start being in the change room with him. Like he couldn't be out of my sight. So this continued for about a year. Nothing was helping. Last week, we're sitting outside my oldest dance class, just like waiting for him to come out. And Grayson, who has anxiety, he says to me, he's like, do you think on Sunday you could drop me off at Reed's house? Because we want to play road hockey with all the kids in the neighborhood. And then you can pick me up 3 hours later. I don't know why 3 hours, but, and I'm like drop you off and not have to hang out with the other moms.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, just drop me off and then come back later. I'm like, of course I can, buddy, but like how, why, like where's this coming from? And he says to me, he was like, you know, Mom, I woke up this morning and I just decided that I wasn't gonna let fear run my life anymore. I'm like, oh my God. He's like, it's like a game the universe was playing with me where like I don't want to play anymore and I can make my own decisions and maybe I'm still going to feel scared, but I'm going to decide to do the things anyways. And I was just like, you know, the proud mom moments where you're like, oh my God.
Oh, I love that so much.
Yeah.
That is like, that is words of wisdom from Grayson. I'll be like, what would Grayson do? All right. I can go on with my day, figure out when things are getting in my way and just push through it. I love that so much. It's such a good tool to share with their kiddos so early. Cause I mean, it's a busy world out there. Let's be honest.
But even like our kids, I don't know, watching us do these things and think outside the box and create different and be like, this is what I want.
Yeah.
How can I do it? But keeping that vision, I feel like you're somebody who's like, this is what I want. And you keep that vision in front of you and it's so crystal clear. And you're like, I'm not stopping until I get there.
Yeah.
I think that is how you succeed. People give up so easily.
Yeah.
But our kids are going to create really cool things.
Right? Can you imagine? It's going to be really, really exciting. Yeah. So I want to chat a little bit more about your course. I mean, obviously you created it for hairstylists, people who were kind of on that same little like hamster wheel that you were. But what is your like ultimate like dream vision? Who do you hope finds this course? How do you think it's going to change their lives? Like, and I know you've done all that mindset. I know it's in there. I'm like, you probably have the crystal clear, here's who it is.
I have this vision of, it's so cheesy, I'm going to share it with you. I haven't actually shared this out loud. I want to be at the grand openings of hundreds of hairstylist salons, whether it's a home salon, whether they buy a salon and have booth renters themselves, whether it's like a little camper van that they try. Like, I don't care what it looks like. The day that they start, I want to show up with like flowers and candy and all of the things.
I'm getting chills. I can feel it. It's happening.
I know. I love it. I want to empower, I'm going to say women. I know there are men hairstylists out there as well, but for some reason I have this woman thing in my head. Yeah. To know that I'm like, oh, I can't swear in here. I almost curse. To know that they can do anything. Like they honestly can create any business they want, and that can create for them the lifestyle that they want. Like we don't have to live in this constant struggle of just like trying to survive. You can take that thing that you're passionate about, doing hair in my case, and actually create a really beautiful lifestyle where you have freedom and you have choice and you feel powerful, right? Like, I just want people to know that they're worthy of all of it and they're capable of it. And then I guess my way of doing that is through the hair world, because that's what I love.
That's awesome. And you know, it's funny, like I was thinking about hair when I was like, okay, prepping for this interview. So my girlfriend, growing up, both of her parents were hairstylists. And what people don't really understand, which I'm sure you can attest to, is how physically demanding being a hairstylist is. Like one of her parents actually quit at a pretty young age because he couldn't do it any longer. Like you're holding stuff above your head. You're like standing all day. And like, it really is something that like, you don't think about when you get into, you're like, oh, I want to be creative. I like this. I like that. But then you're like, oh yeah, this is physically demanding hard labor. Like you don't line up those two, right? So to find ways to like take ownership of it so that you're not constantly.
That's exactly right. Like now I do hair in the mornings when my kids are at school. And that's it. Because I can't. If I do it more than then, I couldn't pop a ketchup lid. I can't open a jar. Like, but I think too, you're never taught. So I actually have like guest speakers that come in who teach about how to take care of your body properly behind the chair. Because we're never taught.
I love
Like,
that. That's so
and
smart.
yeah, right? It's like go out there and grind. Work your 12-hour shifts, reheat your coffee 82 times. You don't have time for a break.
Yeah.
That's what it was like. And that's crazy. You have to, you can do it in a way. And when you have ownership of it, you're making 100%. So like at the salon, I could do 10 clients and I would bring home the income of 4 of them.
That's insane.
Where at home, I can do 10 clients and bring home the income of 10, or I can do 4 clients and then read my book and play with my kids and bring home the same income. Yeah.
Yeah. I love that so much. That's so, so, so crazy, but so real.
Your hair looks, sorry, I cut you off. Your hair looks fabulous. I love your bangs.
Oh, you know what? I used your line the other day. I don't even know if you remember this line, but you said it to me years ago and I've been using it. You don't remember what it is, do you?
I feel like I do, but I don't want to say it out loud. What did you say?
I said bangs are cheaper than Botox.
Oh.
If you said it, and I was like, I literally turned 40 and I'm like, I'm going to get myself some bangs.
I used to tell people, well, when you're at the beach, just like put some sand in it. It'll give it some texture. Who says that? That doesn't work. I've tried it. And I'm like, no, now I just have sand in my hair.
No dirty sand in my hair.
Like, I'm keeping it dirty.
No, your line that I take from you is bangs are cheaper than Botox. So when I turned 40, I was like, I'm going to do some bangs for a little while. I'm going to rock the bangs, which is, yeah, so much fun.
They suit you.
So I want to chat a little bit, obviously, maybe even like what the early days look like compared to now, but like how do you and did you manage? And I think we've talked a little bit about it, but like I'd love obviously to get into this more of like, how do you manage being that busy parent and business owner and like trying to, I hate the word balance because I don't think it's balance, but like trying to have them all kind of work together.
I agree. I don't like the word balance either. Because there's times in your life where some things just overtake others. And
yes, they have to.
Yeah. This is, I love sharing this, but I think sometimes people look at me like I'm nuts. The 80-20 rule.
Yeah.
So like 20% of the things you do create 80% of the results. So I took that really into business so I could cut down my hours. I only do the things that make me, this sounds awful, but it's business, right? That you're doing too many. The things that make me the most money in the shortest amount of time. That's all I do now. The things at home that I didn't enjoy doing or that like I just felt like I had to do, I just cut that stuff out.
Mm-hmm.
Which sounds kind of crazy. People are like, how do you just cut things out? No, I just cut them out. Like I don't need to do all of the things. My kids don't do 80 billion different sports and rec stuff. I don't spend forever cleaning my house. Meals are super like simple. My kids help out a lot. Like they help out a lot. My husband does so much stuff. Like honestly, I can't tell you the last time I took out garbage or did anybody else's laundry other than my own. Yeah, but in saying that, my house is not a pigsty.
Fair.
My children do eat properly and they do still do sports, but I just don't do all of the things. Even like if we're thinking about Easter, right? And to each their own. If people love going all out and doing all the stuff, like we're having an Easter egg hunt, but that's about it. What else? But I do. I get up at like 5:30 in the morning.
Are you?
I do me. So like I meditate, I read, I study. I do the stuff that gets my mind in that proper place so that I can go about my day. Because even in saying like, I don't do the thing, sometimes the things come up and you just have to do them, right?
Of course.
So if I'm in the right mindset, things just go a lot more smooth. But
Yeah.
I don't do a lot of things that I'm supposed to do.
I love that though. And I think that needs to be spoken about a little bit more, right? Like, I think people need to know that, like, yeah, all these demands and like responsibilities and pressures we put on ourselves, like you can't maintain it. It doesn't exist. Like my family just knows we kind of go through very different seasons. So if we know, okay, mommy's working on a new launch or a new project or whatever it is, like I'm going to need a little bit more help from everybody. And I get the buy-in from everybody. And we've even in the past been like, okay, so listen, if this happens, what do you want the goal to be? And they're like, I want to go here. I want to do this. I want to do that. I'm like, all right. So that means I need your help. Like we need to all, we need to do this together. And this is what this looks like. And then the summer, I like purposely scale back a lot of my projects because I want it to be just family chill time. And even though the last few years, the kids have like not done as much sports and stuff in the summer, because in the winter we're at arena like 5 days a week, 7 days a week, some days it's insane. So they know that as well. Like, it's like, okay, wait a second. My oldest is now wanting to try soccer this year. And we're like, well, what does that mean to our schedule? Like, let's hold up for a little. Really bad because he's super excited to try something new. He wants to do all these things, but we're kind of like, well, does that ruin our chill, laid back summer?
Yeah, I know. I don't do hair in the summer.
Yeah.
I know. Like
people don't need haircuts in the summer. They just put on a beach hat. You're good to go.
But yeah, you know what? Exactly what you just said. We're like that too. Or if there's like a big goal when I really have to be grinding, I feel like sharing that with kids and with family. I mean, like when we get there, what's going to be the goal for you guys too, right? And the fun thing. So then they want to help out and they want to share.
Yeah. No. And I love that. And I think that's important. And not only like proving to them like this is a team effort, we're a family, we're a team, let's do this together, but also giving them that, responsibility of like, things don't just come to you. You have to put the work in, you have to put the time in. You sometimes have to be like, okay, I can't do this instead because I'm working on this. So I think that's really important for kids to learn pretty early on. And if there's ways that they can help out, like, why not? They can do so much. Those kids are right. Like they're so smart, and like, and half the things like, yeah, technology wise, they're much better than I am. So why not get them working?
Yeah.
Right? Oh my gosh. There's so many times I'm like, so how does this, I'm not swiping the right way. He's like, no, you got to kind of do this. I'm like, I got nothing. But.
I know. But yeah, just giving the responsibility, like to everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you think is some of your favorite parts of owning your own business?
Freedom, right? Like isn't that what everybody wants? Just to feel.
You know what I've realized though lately? Not everybody wants that. Like it blows my mind because you and I think we're that like-minded people. And that's why we're like, okay, we can do the things we need to do, have our family to have our time. But some people do like that, like, consistency. Some people do like, which is awesome. I love it, to each their own, but I'm like, I'm so not that. Like, I want to be able to decide what I want to do, when I want to do it, and go for it. And then I feel like there's people that are probably in that middle that they're like, okay, I do want to go to that freedom side, but I'm nervous to how to like get there.
Because this is comfortable and cushiony, and I have, what really changed a lot of that for me was when COVID hit, and all of a sudden these stable jobs and stable this and this like security
gone.
That's terrifying.
Right.
And that made me really happy that I have control over a lot of things I do. And then the digital core stuff. I'm like, brilliant. This is going nowhere. But yeah, I guess you're right. I guess there definitely are some people who love that routine and they love going in and this is what their life looks like and that's what it's going to look like until they die. That's totally fine. I'm definitely not that person. I'm like, no, I want full control over every single
right.
Yeah.
I think too, I listened to this podcast the other day, and I think this is where you and I both really fit and probably align as well, is that she was saying that like some people who own their business are so like money and that kind of business driven, where there's so many people that are like life driven. So I feel you and I are more that life driven business because we do what we love because we like it, but we're also not going to like give up the life. Like we do it so we have the life we want.
Exactly. Yeah, like I think money's super important, and I would love a
Oh,
lot of
of
money.
course.
The more you have, the more you can do, the more you can give. But you're
Mm-hmm.
right, there's some things I'm not willing to give up life-wise and time-wise and peace-wise
Yeah.
to make more of it.
To make some more money.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I get that.
What do you think are some of the biggest like life lessons that you've learned, either as a business owner or as a parent or as that combo that you want to share?
Oh my goodness. So this morning, and you know what I'm gonna say? To stay in the moment and to find the joy and like be grateful. Because as a
Mm,
business owner, as a mom, as a just like a human in the world right now, things can be, it's so easy to get distracted and to go right to the negative and right to the lack and right to the stress and right to the worry. And to be able to like be aware first of when your mind's like going crazy and being like, no, right here, right now, nothing is wrong, right? Like this morning, you know, those mornings, it's just crazy, right? Like even one of them, I was like, fine, just stay home. I don't care.
yeah.
Just stay home. But you're staying in there, and I don't just stay. The other one wanted to wear these running shoes, but it's muddy, and we're like, just wear the boot. Like just all of the things. There's like a spill. There's this. There's whatever. I like get my period, right? Like all of it, just
Always.
everything.
Yeah.
And I had a moment where I may have raised my voice. I like lost my mind. And then halfway through the like, I don't actually care. And really, do I need to be yelling? No, everything is fine. And like, let's look for the joy in this moment. And actually, my joy was like, I get to hop on a podcast with Courtney. But I think that not letting things, really, everything's okay.
I agree. And it's funny because I almost felt that same like aha moment today as well. Cause I thought, oh my gosh, it's Thursday. I don't have anything for Easter. I haven't planned anything. I need to get
Yeah.
some things. I'm going to have to do that today. I'm going to have to fit it in my schedule. I've got this, I've got this, I've got this. And then I was like, wait a second. First of all, I don't have to do anything.
Yep.
Second of all, I get to do things. I
Yes.
get to
Yes.
create this magical Easter experience for my kids. Whoa, wait a second. That's pretty awesome. And I would love to have that magical experience. So it was like just that mind frame switch of like, oh, I get to do that later today. And now I'm actually like excited about it. I'm like, oh, I wonder what I can get them. I wonder if I can find something different. I can wonder like what I can do. Like so funny. Whereas like, it's like you said, that moment before I was like, ah, and now whoop,
Yeah,
just switching around. Oh.
exactly. I love him. It's like that little switch of just that word from have to get to. Sounds so simple. But
Right?
I think
Always.
as you come into this fourth floor, is that what you call it? The fourth
I
floor?
call it, isn't that sound lovely? Like, doesn't that sound like a place you want to be? I was like, yeah, fourth floor. I can imagine the like comfy
Window,
couches, the beverages, the like,
a
I don't know.
balcony with like beautiful loungy chairs.
Oh yeah, you got a good view on the fourth floor. You're like
Ew.
up there chilling and
Oh
nice
yeah.
music, good vibes. Like, yeah,
A
I'm,
cute waiter bringing you drinks.
yeah, oh, for sure.
It's always sunny.
Always.
Yes. Don't you find that kind of as you age? And you know what? Maybe it's as you put the work in. Maybe the age doesn't matter, but I feel like maybe it does. I'm using this 40 thing like for as good, as long as I can. I think you realize more and more that, or you become more and more aware of the things that make you feel yucky. And then kind of dig into that. Like anytime now my body's like, ah, I'm like, hey, wait, hold up. What did I just think that made me feel panicky or anxious or like, ugh? And then do I really need to think that? Like, is that thought even really my thought? Is that
Yeah.
thought relevant? Will that thought serve me? And then how can I switch that? And I always, every single time, just go like right to like gratitude and like moment. I actually even busted out this.
Ah,
So I have like a couple books that I go to that are very much just bring you right back and kind of like we are this might get kind of crazy, this teeny little dot on this planet that's just like this teeny little thing in this galaxy of billions of galaxies of this huge like does it matter? Like, yes, it matters, but does it, right? Like, in the scheme of things, just chill.
Yeah. And no, and I love that. And just the reality of like, you have so much control how you react and how you think about the situation. Like that to me is a few of the lessons that I've recently just been like, man, why didn't I know this 20 years ago?
And,
right? Like
empowering.
so empowering. Yeah, I totally agree. All right, we're almost running out in time. So I want to have a few quick more questions for you. So you wrote me a book. What is some of your must read books? All right, there we go.
So there's like a series.
Yes.
Living Untethered's the third one. Brilliant. Love it. And that's more just for like kind of, I love like personal growth kind of mindset stuff. Love that.
Me too.
For business, I'm reading U Squared.
Oh.
And it's cool. It's about quantum leaps. Like it's about how we're so conditioned to think that you have to take these little linear steps so you can get places, when in reality you don't. You can just like, it's like very out there thinking, but it's super cool.
Okay.
And then just for fun, oh my God, have you read Educated?
Yes, I did. Yes. Yes, I did actually.
I just finished that one, and now I just opened a complicated kindness.
Oh, I don't know that.
It's like a Mennonite woman.
Okay.
She grew up a Mennonite, and she's written, Miriam Taves is her name.
Okay.
I love kind of like memoirs of
yes.
people who live a very different life than I do.
Very different. And in Educated, like there's moments where I'm literally reading going, and then I had to like reread because I was like, did I read that properly? And you go back. And then once again, it's that mind frame of like, wow, my life is not, if I'm complaining about going shopping today to buy treats for my kids, my life is not bad, right? Like, at all.
Like when the brother's leg set on fire and she's like, put it in water in the garbage can. And I was like, what is happening?
It's insane. But yes, once again, our lives are pretty darn good.
Right. Yeah.
Last question. Who is really inspiring you right now?
Oh, there's not one person, but honestly, like, people like you, like people who, oh, I know. I'm not just saying that because you have me on your podcast either. No, but seriously, people who will think the box and who aren't afraid to try to create something new. And I feel like a lot of times people like that, they're creating something to serve other people.
Yes.
Like they want to share their knowledge. They want to share the things that have brought peace and calm and success and abundance and freedom into their lives. And just meeting people like that really inspire me. I don't care what your title is. I don't care how much money you make. If you are stepping outside of that box and trying to serve, like, I love it.
And that's what I thought of you, like the whole time when you were talking about your course and who you're trying to reach. I'm like, she is doing it because she wants to show these people that no, but it is. It's like, you want to show these people there is another way. Like no one's telling you like, yes, I'm going to tell you, like, that's what I felt when I'm like watching your social media videos and all of that. I'm like, these people need to find you. Like, I 100% believe that.
Now I'm going to do a reel where I'm like, hey,
totally. Right? I think so. That's it for sure. So ending on that, where can my audience find you? What is the best way to find you?
Probably the best way is through Instagram because I have a link to everything. So nice. I am carly.moore on Instagram, or my website is Your Beauty Business Academy. But it's all linked to my on my Instagram as well. Courtney, thank you so much. It was really lovely to see you.
You too.
Yeah.
I agree. We need to hang out so much more. But I loved having you, and I hope my audience loved it as well. I know they will, because you're just such a fabulous person. How could they not? So.
Aw, thank you.
All right, friends. Thanks so much for listening, watching, tuning in. Appreciate you as always. And bye for now, friends.
That was Courtney Riddell, a Renaissance mama, big part of Fired Up Network, female empowerment movement. We're going to get to the other segment, but before I get to the other segments, some finals already in Major League Baseball. The Chicago Cubs shut out the Texas Rangers 2-0. The Mets hammered Miami Marlins 9-3. And of course, the Blue Jays opened up a series against the Los Angeles Angels in Anaheim 9:38 p.m. today. Top of the fifth, Baltimore leads the Yankees 4-3. Top of the sixth, Phillies beating Cincinnati 2-1, and Cleveland leading Seattle 1-0 at the end of the second inning. The NHL does not have a game tonight. They took Good Friday off, so all the players are having a Good Friday. The Maple Leafs play the Montreal Canadiens tomorrow at Scotiabank Arena. The last regular season home game for the Toronto Maple Leafs. They have clinched second place in the Atlantic Division. They will play the Tampa Bay Lightning in the first round of the Stanley Cup playoffs. The Stanley Cup playoffs begin Monday 17th, and most likely the Maple Leafs are in action either Monday or Tuesday. I hear sometimes Monday, sometimes Tuesday. I would go with Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. The Maple Leafs. Or it could be Monday, Wednesday, Saturday, but I'll go with Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, and Maple Leafs have home advantage once again over the Tampa Bay Lightning. All right, so now I'm going to throw to Derek Bowles, Unstoppables. He has a great guest today here. And don't forget, enjoy your Easter weekend. Enjoy Good Friday for all the Jewish fans out there. Continue to eat the matzah. I know Eric, you forgot to bring me my bottle of red wine. And I need that bottle of red wine. Nothing goes better than matzah and red wine, and have your girlfriend beside you eating matzah and red wine. You have to lean back and all that. Come on, Eric, I expect that to be happening. I'll give you a week time by April 16th, which is my mom's birthday. All right, April 16th. All right, so we're going to go to Unstoppables with Derek Bowles.
First and foremost, man, I'm super excited. I mean, again, it's just so many good things happening, especially in life, in athletics, and everything I'm talking about. I'm excited to be with Harlan. Always excited for us to connect. Right. And not only that, I want to, honor Coach Mosley, who is at East LA College. Is that fair? Is that
That's
fair?
It. We got it.
And the thing is, we want to talk to him about, but most importantly, what he's doing and impacting the world right now with his program. And so, first and foremost, I'm gonna let Coach ask the first question, but I want you to think about this. Tell us a little bit about your history before we get going.
Yeah, you know what? I grew up in LA, South Central. It sounds cliche, but that's where I grew up and went to, inner city high school, public high school, and just kind of grew up in that environment. I was fortunate, though. I had, some good parents, but in the midst of that, man, I just seen it all. I seen some of everything, man. I don't boast of anything negative, but, the drive-bys, I'm watching friends get shot, and I'm sitting on my porch, and he getting shot on his porch, and I'm like, oh, man, Junior got shot, so
Right.
we in the middle of that, but out of that, I was able to come out of that, and myself went to junior college, and then moved on to a 4-year and got a chance to play a little bit professionally, and actually went to a private Christian college, and so there's some things there where some seeds was planted, and I grew in my faith. And so just bringing that all together, I went back and coached with my college coach and mentor, and bringing that all back together. I kind of it's all mixed up, man. It's ministry, it's basketball, it's passion, it's being an underdog, because I wasn't the 5-star, so I went to a small NAI, college. So I got some underdog. I got, there's that faith in there, and I had some decent parenting. And just like any of these other young men that I got a chance to impact or be a part of their lives, there's some highs and lows in life there's some mistakes I made. And so I'm at this point where, I'm passionately trying to help these young men not make the same mistake. And here at the community college, I teach. I'm a professor. So everybody's wondering, that's how I get paid. So I have to come and teach every day. It's like, you know, because I'm at the community college, teach every day, you know, a full load, and then I get a chance to go coach. So it's like 2 full-time jobs.
Absolutely.
And I'm doing that. But I was at the Division I level as an assistant coach at the 4-year level for 15 years. But now, you know, started this at the junior college. I thought it was just going to be a quick stop, but, you know, it turned into something longer than that, and actually keeps me at home where I can be with my family and kind of impact lives. And I think right now, you know, I'm here for the long haul.
Coach, give us some idea and more or less explain or give our audience a picture of what you have in mind in terms of when you are saying last chance you.
Yeah.
What do you mean? Yeah.
Well, you know what, especially with basketball, but in life, period, there's a lot of talented people out there. And so there's this element of competition, and we got it a lot in America, man. We probably one of the most competitive countries, but you know, you don't get many opportunities. And when you get those opportunities, man, you got to take full advantage, and you got to have an urgency. And I talked about, I think in one of the shows, you got to be desperate, man, to grab a hold of those opportunities. And I think it's no fault of us parents, but, you know, my dad made me think I was the greatest thing on earth. He was like, man, you're going to be special. You're going to do this. You're going to do that. And we get people like that when we're young. And there's nothing wrong with that, to pour that into our lives. But, you know, when we get out there hitting 20s, mid 20s, we start to see there's other people that look like us that are as talented, or there's people not giving us opportunities or taking away opportunities. And so when you have this small window of opportunity, we got to take advantage, man. And sometimes we think more opportunities are going to come up. And that's just for those who have positive influences in their life, let alone the ones who have been negatively impacted and they don't see any hope. But everybody's going to get an opportunity. So the ones that don't see hope, the ones that don't see this, you know, the opportunities, you know, if you really see a inch of daylight, then you got to take that window and you got to pursue it. And so it's kind of like, you know, every chance you get might be your last chance. And so, you know, you want to pursue it with all you got. And I like to tell my guys, we in practice. I tell my guys every year the one story about the young man who we in practice. It's like early, it might be like November during the season. And we say, you know, he came down and he threw a bad pass in practice. And I just went ballistic. I was just going crazy. Like, bro, what are you doing? That's a bad pass. Come to a jump stop, snap the pass, follow through. He's like, coach, it's just one pass. And then not only did I go ballistic, I said one pass. Right. I said, bro, that could be the pass that changes your life.
Right.
And the sad part about it, I wouldn't say sad because he ended up at a Division I, but the opportunity that he wanted, we get later in, it might have been February or January. This is years ago. This might have been 2015. He came in the game in just the same way. He had this blasé attitude. He threw the same soft, bad pass, and it was catastrophic to that specific game. And it created a domino effect, and it created a sense of, that's not a guy we really interested in, the way he carried himself even with the pass. And, you know, I didn't get on him after that because he knew. He ended up going to play Division I, but, you know, it was a Pac-12 opportunity. And then he eventually dropped to, you know, it was still a good league. He went and played in Conference USA, but it was a Pac-12 opportunity there. And it was just multiple mistakes. And then it was just like that one pass. Yeah, that one pass can change your life. So when you talk about last chance, man, having an urgency with everything they do, you know, if you can get an A, get an A. Coach, I got to be in the class. I'm straight. If we get an A,
right?
Coach, I'm straight. I'm passing. Well, don't just pass. Get a B. Like, because you never know what's following behind that. You know, so you gotta take everything. If you got a window, man, go ahead and take it and knock it out the park.
So you know, first and foremost, I'm listening and I'm getting inspired by what you're sharing because it's so powerful in what you're doing right now, man. And it pops into my mind. You're providing hope, inspiration, and you're challenging your guys to be their best. Is that fair?
That's fair. That's fair. Yeah. Yeah.
No. And so my question is so, I mean, you're doing that and you have another job being a professor as well. So you making it happen. And so that says a lot about your time management, and you're probably being an example to all those guys. Can you talk about that for a second? Because I think it's important what you're doing, because you're kind of setting the model for the future.
Yeah. Well, believe it or not, man, they can put on this front all they want, but they watching this, man. Yeah. These young men and young Black men can act like they cool. You know, they can act like they got it all figured out. But at the end of the day, they watching us and they're watching our examples. And even I've gotten that earlier in my, you know, I would set a good example just because of my faith. I would want to have this example of showing my faith, example of showing good family, example of showing I'm showing up every day with energy and working hard. And I was kind of just doing that for me. But at the end of the day, when you start to see those guys move on and they come back and they share stories about myself, they share stories about the program and what they learned from me, they're sharing the example that they saw. It's like, I saw Coach Mosley come with energy every day. Man, Coach Mosley got a great family and his wife and his kids. Coach Mosley is family, or Coach Mosley goes to church every Sunday. He makes sure he's going, you know, and so I'm thinking, I'm like, man, they really are watching me. After they get older and they mature, they're coming back and sharing stories about the example that I set or the things that I did. And that's a big responsibility, man. It's a big responsibility because I've seen some examples from us coaches. You know, there's coaches that are out there reckless. And you came back from the Final Four, and I don't visit the Final Four as much. You know, I'm a little jealous because you mentioned the BCA, man, which those are friends of mine, and you know, we got a chance to fellowship there. But you know, a lot of my experiences are it's a lot of reckless coaches, and they still living. They living their best life better than the players. You know, they out there wilding out. They, you know, and so it's not an example. And then they come back in the gym and they're coming at the players like, you got to jump stop, you got to this and that. And they're like, man, I just saw you get wasted the other night, man. And you know, you cheating on your wife. You with one of the cheerleaders. Like, and man, you a 40, 50-year-old coach and you messing with the students. And so there's some examples out there like that.
Well, and I just want to add to it just really quick, and then I'll let Coach share his thoughts. But, you know, at the BCA event, one of the things that was said by an athletic director was, you never know who you're next to. Mm-hmm. And when you go to the Final Four, everybody's there. Mm-hmm. And so, and you don't know how you're carrying yourself, how you're communicating, if you've been drinking too much, like if any of that stuff shows up. And then we talk about getting opportunities, right? We talk about, you know, a lot of people who attended the event are, you know, potential head coaches. But right now, it's not about being a head coach. It's about how you carry yourself outside of, right, the game. And all that stuff's super important. I just wanted to add to what you're saying, because I agree 100%.
Absolutely.
Well, Coach, a lot of what you're talking about is what I call intangible winning traits, whether those traits be winning traits in the game of life or whether those traits be winning traits in the game of basketball. And they're significant to one another, because a lot of times, and you've been in the game a long time, you know for a fact, you had mentioned about a young man getting a A, but he's satisfied with a B. Well, you know, that's not an intangible winning trait. That's not what gets you to that highest level of achievement that you want to attain. Mm-hmm. So you have to live your life in a way that dictates you being able to take advantage of your talent and being able to achieve that level. And without intangible winning traits, and we're talking about outside talent alone, we're really not talking about I'll use Draymond because I coach Draymond.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't make $100 million because he's shooting jump shots. He don't shoot them well.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't make $100 million because he's the best player on the floor offensively. He does a myriad of things. But what everybody in the NBA want him for, every team would take him, is the intangible winning traits of leadership, of self-discipline, controlling their locker room, or I shouldn't use the word controlling, but saying, hey, when we're in this locker room, we're like a family. And all of those things add up to winning. And that, everybody can talk about Steph, they can talk about Clay, they can talk about all those guys. There is no question that without him, they don't achieve what they've achieved. And, I've talked to Steve Kerr, and without him, they're just average of the road team. They can't win without him, and it showed itself a few times when he was injured. But, Coach, I love what you're doing. I really do. I was a high school coach for 16 years. Before I came to the Division I level, I coached Derek. And I mean, sometimes when you have time, he'll tell you about the old red station wagon, the whole deal, man.
Yes, sir.
And when guys, they would fall out with their parents, they had to come and live at my house. And I see that in you. And I just, man, oh, wow. My heart is, Coach, just please keep it up. I know it gets rough because I've been there now. I've been there. I know that.
Well, it ain't easy. It ain't easy. And dealing with the personalities, but to push them to get young men to where, like everybody see, like you said, we see Draymond Green, he's in the NBA, is great, but I'm pretty sure there were some challenges there to get him there. When you see the jewels and the diamonds that's in all of them. And at that moment, you're like, man, I don't know if I could make it happen for this kid every single time, but I'm saying there's no way that I can leave this kid behind and not push him out the door and get him. Because a lot of times, man, when they see it, when they get enlightened, when they get away from, when they get away from out of the environment that's kind of holding them back, and we get them out and they get enlightened, they get to the universities and they see the resources. They start to see that there's money in this, and they don't want to lose that. Then now we can kind of we can take the leash off and say, okay, go. You see what we were talking about. You see how beautiful this can be. But you're absolutely right. It's challenges daily, and it makes you, every single year. It's just like, man, you know what? I'm tired. I might have to.
Right.
I might. This might be it. I'm going to just chill and go watch my kids play. And every single year you say the same thing. And but then there's the one kid and he's looking, is like, okay, I got to help this one kid. And then all of a sudden it's another group of 10 or 15 of them. And then you're moving those on and there's challenges. So, but ultimately, man, that's hats off. And you talk about those winning traits, man. Just to infuse the spirit of winning, because I fear, man, if they walk out the door and they don't grab hold of a little bit of that, man, the world is going to beat them up, man. Whether it's on the court, and it's not just basketball, but it's whether it's on the court, whether it's getting a job, man, the world going to beat them up. If they can't respond to adversity and respond to, okay, we down 10 points, how are we going to respond to get back? Or like you said, how are we going to, have these traits? And I get on leaders on the team like, bro, what are you doing? Why are you walking in the gym like this? Don't step on the court with flip-flops, like stuff, just all little things that displays if you're ready to accept these challenges. We just trying to teach them, and they don't think, they like, dude, what is he talking about? I'm averaging 20. Why is he sweating me about flip-flops when I'm in the gym shooting? It's like, that's a putt. Don't come in here shooting with flip-flops. Like, just little stuff that, like, bro, why are y'all eating in the locker room, bro? Step outside the locker room so we don't get ants in here. Just little stuff.
Right.
Little stuff, man. Why is it trash? Why is this? Why, You ain't got a backpack today? Well, no, coach, I ain't got this class, I don't need a backpack. Well, bro, just little things, man, throughout the day that we talk about. And
But coach, I love to use basketball and use the fundamentals of the game to bring about analogies in life.
Mm-hmm.
And what you're doing right now is that you're making a pass, right? And the passes that you're making are passes of wisdom.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to, just like you teach a child to catch a pass and catch it with two hands so they don't fumble it, you also have to teach them how to receive a pass in life.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying, coach?
Yeah.
In life. And see, you're making those passes.
Mm-hmm.
And you're a ball player.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to use this analogy. How many times are you going to throw a pass to a guy and he let it go through his hand? Eventually, you're going to stop.
Mm-hmm.
Now, knowing you're going to talk with the guy and you're going to keep it up. But what they have to understand, when they get into the game of life, it's not Coach Mosley anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So if you fumble one pass, as you said earlier in the podcast, you fumble one pass, it could determine your future for the rest of your life.
Mm-hmm.
So when Coach Mosley is making those passes of wisdom, you better be sure to catch them.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. No, absolutely, man. We talk about having that one opportunity, and that being the most important opportunity and being in the moment right there. And this one practice, this one day is the most important day. And you're gonna have your moment, and you just want to be prepared for that moment and prepared to be able to respond in that moment as well. Because everybody's gonna have a moment, man. And you just want to be best prepared for that moment. Don't assume, okay, I'll get ready for my moment on that day. That's not when the preparation starts for your moment. That moment, as we see the NCAA tournament, the one shining moment, that preparation for that one moment happens years in advance to get to that point where you can make that play or you can respond to that adversity at that time. It doesn't happen a couple weeks or a month in advance. That happens with years and years of preparation. And we approach the day, I text my guys, if I say practice is at 12 noon, then, my last little comment at the end is winning is essential. If I'll just blurt out there, winning is essential. It's just winning the day and winning. In order to win the day, it starts right here. You got to win when you wake up with positive energy. You say, I'm going to win the room right now. I'm going to win with my attitude with my family. I'm going to win with making sure my energy is right. I'm gonna beat myself today and not fall asleep in class. Just taking those winning habits and trying to, have that daily and have that throughout the day, and that'll transition into the court. And I try to text the guys every day.
That's powerful. That's very powerful. Yeah, man. I mean, for me, in my mind, I'm thinking the impact that you're having, and I'm gonna be selfish if I can, because I'm gonna talk about my son. I got a son that's 6'7" that I'm planning to see with you, because I want him to be around people who have that right mindset. Like, to me, that stuff is very important. And learning how to win, learning how to carry yourself, learning how to execute. And I love what you're saying, understanding that you can win the day, right? You can start off, and if you have the right mindset, you can overcome any challenges that you face.
Yeah.
So, for me, I love that you carry that message, and I think it's important. And so tell us a little bit about your vision for the future. I mean, we know that you already have the program moving. We know you're a professor, you're doing stuff, but what do you see happening moving forward? Have you thought about it?
Everybody asks me the question. I like the space that I'm in the sense that the freedom to be able to, pour into their lives and speak into their lives, and then make a decent salary. I mean, I just started 5 years ago, full-time faculty. So
Okay.
It's decent, and I'm here with my family. My son is a graduating senior. My daughter is a junior. My youngest daughter is a ninth grader. So I'm able to be around them and show up, come home every day. I was at a 4-year, and man, I was on the road a lot, and I was out recruiting, and the brothers, we was recruiting coordinators. I was everywhere, and I came home one day, man, and my daughter, she was 6 years old at the time. My middle daughter, she said, I came home with a bunch of bags. And she said, Dad, you're staying at our house tonight. When because they greet me at the door, Daddy. And they said, you're staying at our house. And that broke my heart. I was like, man, she don't even think I stay here. I've been gone so much. But just being able to do that is to me, to have the space to do it. And my name has been mentioned for a couple things. And I was just like, you know what? I can't, I'm not jumping anywhere for money. I've had opportunities, even outside of basketball. Hey, we want you to go on this tour to speak. And I'm like, but that's not me. Like, I can speak and I'm okay with it. I'm pretty good at it, but I'm a coach. I'm here to inspire this individual that's right in front of me, this player. I'm here to pray with him. I'm here to talk with him. I'm here to coach him through whatever his burdens are right now. I'm not there to go around and speak and collect money and speak to a bunch of people and inspire people just for those 5 or 10 minutes that I'm speaking to them. And then I fly somewhere else and I inspire. Like, no, man, I'm someone who needs to tear down and build up a young man. Sure. And that takes a year or two to do, but just for me to fly around and make a bunch of money and speak to people and inspire people for that half an hour. And they say, hey, great job. And then do a book signing is like, bro, that's not me. Yeah, I can make a bunch of money, but that's me. And it's the same at the university level. If I can't do what I'm doing, if I'm so consumed with winning, because at the university, you got to win. If you don't win, you done. And now I'm worried about feeding my family because I only got a 4-year contract and I'm worried about winning. You lose the authenticity of really speaking into these young men's lives. So I'm here. They really could care less if we win or lose here. They got excited because we were on the show and the school got some recognition. Right. But here at the junior college, they could care less because this is community college where it's just academic driven. It's more vocational jobs. They're looking to bring, community students in and then send them out on the job. They really don't really pour into, and it's, no knock on them. They just don't pour into athletics here. That's just me and a couple of us coaches taking on the challenge of trying to win in the midst of these vocational schools and these community schools. And we've done that, and it brought some attention to the school. So wherever I can do that, if someone wants to, pitch that I can do it at a higher level, then I'll do it. But I need this space where we can win and I can have the time to pour into the young men's lives at a higher level. But this level is a level where at the high school level, if I did that, you got too many parents, it's AAU, it's too many people involved in those kids if they good players. Sure. They got their hands on them till that turns into a spectacle. And then at the highest level, it's about you got to win or you're getting fired and I can't feed my family. Well, at this level, I got a bunch of young men that nobody want to deal with, in some cases. There's not many handlers on them because they lost. They don't have the empowerment that they have in terms of financial empowerment that these young kids have, the social media empowerment. We're the only school, probably junior college in the country that has this social media following that, so it's rare. And that'll go away in a couple of years. So the kids there's no empowerment like it is at the high school level or at the college level. And this middle ground right here, these are some lost kids trying to get to the university level or trying to recover from not having a good high school career or something falling off at high school. So, I'm straight hands-on, and there's not many things that can affect me saying, okay, let's get eye to eye and let's look, okay, this kid is going to stop, look me in the eye and say, Coach, I need your help. Without saying it, I'm looking at it with their whole body. So it may not sound correct to say that I have a little bit more leverage over these young men. I have a little bit more power over them to say, okay, stop, take a jump stop, respond this way, change your behavior, do this, and I'm able to impact a little bit more than I probably would be at the high, at the high level high schools. Man, those kids are stars now. And then at the universities, you could speak into those kids' life, but man, I'll be so consumed with winning, going to get players, and the authenticity of that, it just kind of goes out the window. Right. And there's some coaches that are doing that. They're doing that at that level. No knock to any four-year coaches, and I know they are impacting lives. And we see stories that they are, but for me, I don't know if I can do it like I'm doing it here, and be able to plant seeds of faith and do all that. So I don't know if the same opportunity that I have here presents itself, where I can, help people and pour into their lives and still make money doing it, then yeah, we'll make that move.
Okay.
That sounds fantastic, Coach. Keep it up.
So I got one more question. This probably be, unless Coach has another one. I'm really interested in, obviously our show is called Unstoppable Tough Talks, right? And we talk about stuff that is relevant, that's happening. And, one of the things that Coach and I, because of our relationship, we always want to find something that you can give to the listeners, the audience, the people who are viewing. And if you had something that you wanted to share with everybody that's listening and an action item, okay? So I'm giving you it's a twofold question. We want you to share your thoughts and then tell us how we can engage and be a part of something that can help really make the world a better place.
Yeah. Well, for myself, man, and I tell my players, and I don't force anything on anybody, but man, I everybody asks me, well, where do you, in terms of my source, my energy, my strength, and where I show up every day and try to be authentic, and from an integrity standpoint, it comes from my faith and is believing in God, and I have a personal relationship with Christ, and with that, man, I think that keeps me, that keeps me with a foundation. I grew up in the church, and I grew up with family that believed in God, and ultimately I believe that if there is a creator, I think that everybody believes that there is a creator and a higher source and a higher power, and I'm gonna say that's the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. That's what I'm gonna say, and that's what I believe now, and that's what I tap into for my source and my strength, and I try to plant seeds. If I see those young men, I don't force it on anybody. I'm not here to convert every player that walks through the door, but when I see them struggling, when I see them having a tough time with adversity and they're not finding a way out of it, then I share with them my source, and my source is the Heavenly Father, man. That gives me my strength and my relationship, and constantly being engaged and connected with Him. It gives me strength because that helps me with my purpose. As He had compassion on me, I have compassion on others, because we know how we was, man, as young bucks, and we talk about the mistakes that the young men make and mistakes that people make that are catastrophic to their lives. Me, you, and you, we made the same mistakes. We just most of us didn't get caught. And we're grateful, and God had grace on us that we didn't get caught. But God had a purpose behind it. He took us through some of this adversity, and we took us through some mistakes where the mistakes that we made and others made could have been more catastrophic for us, but they weren't, but we're allowed to come out and be able to share. So the mistakes that I made, I can't look down on anybody. I can't look down on any young man in terms of what they've done. I can't look down on people. And so my heart is filled with a heart of grace, just like Christ had on me, and He died for me, and from a salvation standpoint, I was saved. So and I was saved by grace. So I have this level of grace for others. And that's where all of that comes from. Everybody asks, "Oh man, you're a great guy. You got it." It's like, nah, I'm not really a great guy. It's just somebody looked after me, and so I got to pay it forward. And not only the Christ and God, they look after me, and they made sure that I was saved and I'm reconciled with them, and I got a better life. But there's people that was in my life that there was coaches. There's my dad and family. That's my mom that did the same for me. There's coaches like yourself that spoke into my life, and I got to pay it forward. And so that's what I would say. If you having some issues, if you can't find it, then that true source, that gives me energy when I'm tired, and I'm tired every day. But that source that I get, it's not like, oh man, he's a great guy. He's got all of this enthusiasm, energy. But I realize that if I'm going to be an example for the body of Christ, then that example has to have enthusiasm, energy. It has to have a level of integrity, and it has to show that it can respond to adversity. And that's where I get my strength. So I would just challenge all those to tap into that level of strength.
That's great, Coach. That's great.
Well, I mean, there's nothing else to say other than that, to be totally honest. I mean, I appreciate, obviously, us having you as a guest. We appreciate everything that you're doing. We appreciate more than anything you sharing a little bit about your faith. I think that is super important. And on the other side of that, we want to continue to honor what you're doing at Last Chance U, right? That's a big deal too. So continue to have success. We appreciate you taking time. You have any questions for him, Coach?
No, I don't. It's been a pleasure.
Oh, absolutely, man. And I'll shout out the Michigan State hat, because Magic, we talk about throwing that pass. Magic was my favorite player. So Michael Jordan might have been the guy I idolized the most, because he was I consider him the GOAT, Michael Jordan, but Magic was my inspiration, and the spirit in which I played was Magic Johnson. Like you said, coming down diamond, I averaged 11 assists. So I was trying to be Magic in my day, watching the Showtime Lakers in the 80s. And they even had a nickname for me. They would call me Magic John. But I gotta always flip it, because my sisters couldn't stand it. They used to say, "Nah, it's more like Tragic John." But Magic was my man. As I look at the Michigan State hat, and Tom Izzo, I got a list of 5. Tom Izzo is one of my favorite coaches because he always wins, and it appears he wins with this grit and toughness. So as I'm looking at all of the memorabilia and the hats and the shout out to my assistant coach, Ken Hunter. He's from Michigan. He's actually out there now. His dad passed, but he's from Detroit as well. So shout out to him. I always tease him for wearing these Detroit Lion hats and Detroit Tiger. Detroit Tiger. Y'all some proud jokers, man. Y'all gonna wear y'all Detroit stuff. Y'all gonna wear y'all Michigan stuff. So but shout out to y'all, man. I appreciate y'all for having me.
Yep, Coach. You know what? You said you were a passer. You said you, were called, John, the passer. I lost track of what I was going to say. But what I'm trying to say to you is that you were setting guys up to score, and you're still doing it today.
Absolutely.
That's big.
Yep.
That's big. Well, we appreciate you, man. We just will honor, and we'll send out this to all of the people who watch the show, and we'll give you a copy as well, and you can share it, and we'll be talking to you soon.
Absolutely. I appreciate you. Thanks for having me.
All right, Coach.
All right.
Okay.
Well, that was Derek Bowles, Unstoppables. Great to have his guest Mosley there. Really nice to have him there and everything like that. So last night, Thursday night, the flagship show of the Fired Up Network, 4 hours. Right now, on Good Friday, we don't take a break. An hour, 24 minutes in to the show. And again, I'm going to give you a scoreboard update, and let's see what has happened in sports so far. As I mentioned before, the NHL have no games tonight. The NBA, the Raptors are in Boston at 7:30. Very good week for Toronto in Boston. Wednesday, Raptors in Boston losing by 4 points, 97-93. Yesterday, The Maple Leafs at the TD Garden in Boston, losing 2-1 in overtime. And today, the Raptors are back at it in Boston at the TD Garden, 7:30. Houston, Charlotte at 7. Miami, Washington. Detroit, Indiana, 7:30. Orlando, Brooklyn. Philadelphia, Atlanta. That's a game that everybody's watching. 8 o'clock. Memphis and Milwaukee. Knicks and Pelicans, 8:30. Chicago, Dallas, 10. Golden State, Sacramento, and 10:30. Phoenix and the Lakers, all on tonight's schedule. Now, in Major League Baseball, 2 finals thus far. The Cubs shut out the Texas Rangers 2-0. The Mets beat the Marlins 9-3. In the bottom of the 6th, Yankees lead Baltimore 5-4 with 2 outs. Bottom of the 7th, Phillies lead the Reds 4-2. Top of the 5th, Cleveland 3, Seattle 1. End of 4th, it is Houston leading Minnesota 1-0. Also, bottom of the 4th, Pittsburgh beating Chicago White Sox 7-5. 1-1 tie in the 4th between Kansas City and San Fran. Blue Jays play in Los Angeles. Angels, 9:38 today. Bassett takes to the mound for the Jays. The Titans have signed Jeffrey Simmons to a 4-year, $94 million extension. Yes, $94 million extension for Jeffrey Simmons. Congratulations to him and the Tennessee Titans. Jets signed Quinton Jefferson to bolster the defensive line. Also, tomorrow, UFC 287 takes place from Miami, Florida. Pereira versus Adesanya 2. Also, Masvidal in action against Burns. I mentioned this because the UFC today announced UFC 289, June 10th in Vancouver. Yes, June 10th in Vancouver. Now, for you wrestling fans out there, you know SmackDown's on there. It's Jey Uso versus Sami Zayn. Also, tonight, a live edition of AEW Rampage and Battle of the Belts right after Rampage. So, big wrestling night for you wrestling fans out there. All right, so we're going to bid adieu here on the Fired Up Network Beyond the Score. Thank you to Courtney Riddle, the Renaissance Mama, and thank you to Derek Bowles, Unstoppables. Have a great Good Friday. Stay tuned for more great programming here on the Fired Up Network. Check out firedupnetwork.ca.